feel to be back in that chair?
I hate it here.
You hate it
I'm just
here.
kidding. Little clickbait soundbitey.
I hate it here.
Wow, it has been a minute. I don't even know how to make things look good anymore.
It's been longer than a minute. It's been a month.
It's not been a month. It's
It
been
has
2
been
months.
a month.
3 months.
No, because we cheated last time, and at the beginning of April, we uploaded one of our sermons for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a
Yeah.
month.
We're not even sure if anybody's even going to know that we exist anymore. If you guys are faithful listeners, watchers,
We haven't even looked at like
subscribers,
statistics.
statistics.
Yes,
Yeah.
I stuttered.
Yeah.
Statistics.
Man, so I guess we're back. Lucky
Back again.
you. Liz, try to do a little thumbs up for us.
No, because you turned it off, and I know you turned it off.
Gotcha, fool. All right. Well, you know, I've been pressuring Liz to get back into this room to record an episode.
Lies. So every single week I'm like, hey, I'm about to record my nerd podcast, and then we're going to do ours.
Nerd podcast. Systematic Geekology.
Systematic
for those
Geekology,
following
shout
along.
out.
Yeah, so you've definitely been pressuring me to do this.
I have. And
had no
I
motivation.
threatened him. I'm like, hey, if we do not record tomorrow, I will cancel our subscription we use to pretty much run the podcast. And so I pretty much had to give him an ultimatum. If we are not going to do this, I will cancel it, because we all know how I feel about money. I don't like wasting it. So here we are with
Yep.
lots of threats.
For another great episode. This should probably be season 3. It's not going to be, but it should just jump into whatever
This is
the next
just our
season is.
life.
So today we're just going to go through and rapid fire a bunch of stuff that we've been going through, maybe some stuff that the Lord's been teaching us, some things that we've been doing in our own personal lives. We're just going to hit you with a little bit of a life recap. And I know what you're thinking. Oh no, another one of those lifestyle vlog people that are just going to tell us what they've been doing. But we really believe that we have interesting lives. We're not like those other chumps, you know?
No, don't say that. But it's just we have... One of the things that I love to do is I love to share about the goodness of God in our life.
Sure.
And so as we are ambassadors of Christ, we do all things unto the Lord. And so by us recapping our lives, we're not just saying, hey, look at us, we're pretty. We're just kind of showing the goodness of God in our season and how he is faithful when we may not feel like he is faithful. So don't undermine what we do.
You think I'm pretty?
I do think you're pretty.
All right, so I guess let's jump right into
Well, let's start like the beginning.
when did we leave off?
So we kind of left off at the beginning of April,
Good
because I think it was April 3rd we did our message together, and we posted that.
Oh yeah, first Wednesday.
Yep, because I don't remember that because my birthday was April 2nd, so, you know, I am now 32.
The brain fog is
Feeling
kicked
30.
in.
No, it's not. I am fantastic. I am sharper than I ever was. I'm
Well,
not
I
as
take ashwagandha
active
now.
as I ever was.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're in
So I
beginning
had
of
my
April.
birthday.
Yeah.
So
What'd you do? What did we do? I don't even know.
Well, it was like a weird because my birthday was right after Easter, so we haven't even talked about how great Easter was in that
yeah.
season.
Easter was bomb.
Because
3
Easter-
services.
Yeah, at the end of May. I hate how
Oh
Easter
my gosh.
is so random. And like next year's April 20th. But Easter was so good.
Yeah, Easter was really
It
good.
was a whirlwind. I went to for the third service, I went to the preschool area. Like we have our kids' church, and kids' church is separated pretty much into 3 categories: babies and twos, like newly twos, preschool, which is like 2 to 5, and then elementary, which is like kindergarten and 5th grade. So I went to the preschool one. That thing wore me out. It was
AKA the danger zone.
AKA the war zone. Oh my! I apologized to our kids' pastor, and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know what you this mantle you carry, this weight you carry every single Sunday.
Wow.
And I have no control over the church and how we do our resources, but give them a raise. Give them an extra droll. Do something. Vacation, spa day. We need to support our kids' workers.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, Easter was really, really cool. I do remember my biggest take. My gosh, y'all, we're talking about Easter.
Well, that's why we're rapid fire.
Over. Yeah. Okay, we're just going to hit on everything. Easter, typically around the church world, and I'm sure maybe we mentioned this before with how busy that it is and things like that. When it finally came time to be Easter, and it was time for game day services were happening, I was pumped that our church didn't drive a lot of extra elements. We didn't add a lot of fluff into our services. We typically, week to week, we like to have worship and the word, and then that's it. We do our announcements, we do those kind of things. And for Easter Sunday, a mass influx of people, 3 services, packed out house. We kept to our roots of worship and the word. We didn't do any gimmicky things. We didn't do any kind of crazy giveaways or things like that. And I really appreciated that. And it was so felt, I think, across the board that I had multiple people tell me that they so appreciated how chill our Easter was. So I love that.
I love it too, and we've talked about it before, I'm sure, on this show. Whenever you pull out all the stops, and then people come back the next day, the next Sunday, and they're like, "Where's all this energy? Where's all the greeters?
Where's the giant LED floating cross with
right.
the
And I felt the same way whenever I worked at CSU, and we had our like student orientation or kind of preview days, and we pulled out the red carpet, had the cafeteria serve the best food, and it's the best representation of CSU, but that's not CSU consistently. Yeah. And same thing with Easter. It's that we put our best foot forward. We don't want anyone to see all the mess and junk, and then people expect a standard that we cannot consistently achieve, whether it's in the church world, whether it might be a job performance or like at a college.
Yeah, good stuff. So Easter was great.
So good.
Easter was super good.
My family came, my sister and her 3 kiddos. That's why I was in the war zone, because that's the only way her kiddos would have stayed. She has those kids that cry. Separation anxiety.
Those kids.
My nieces and nephew.
Cool. Yeah, so okay, Easter happened. That's the end of March. Then we get into April. It was your birthday. Did we do anything for your birthday?
No, it was, I think like the weekend after, we just had some dinner with some friends. We invited them over. It was a chill birthday because I was so tired from Easter. And I was kind of busy preparing for something that happened April 8th. Do you remember what happened?
April the 8th. I have no idea.
Are you serious?
I have
you
zero
forgot?
clue. Look, I have no idea. Don't tell me. What day of the week was it?
It was a Monday. Remember, we had all staff, and I had to leave all staff right after lunch because I had to go somewhere. You're the worst. I literally like did a rapid fire. This is what I'm talking about. Boom, 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 boom. And this was on the list.
April the 8th. It was an ordinary Monday until it wasn't, because Liz did a thing.
I went to First Assembly of God. First Assembly of God in West Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
You are an unsupported person.
No. I'm an absent-minded person. That's so cool. Yeah, you had your interview, right?
I already did the interview.
Okay, yeah.
That was my test.
This was your test
passed.
for licensing with the Assemblies of God. That's right. Your girl is a reverend, a minister that is credentialed in the Assemblies of God.
So I now hold credentials. I am a licensed minister with
Looks like
the
you're holding a
Assembly of
coffee
God.
cup.
I'm drinking
And
from Kobe.
credentials.
But so that was fun.
Yeah.
3 tests combined over 200 questions.
Terrible.
Different about the Bible, the doctrines of the Assembly of God, or polities. I straight beat it. I thought I was going to do better, but I just didn't have time to study like I thought I would.
B's get degrees.
Well, B's get licensed. Honestly, C's would have gotten licensed, but at least I didn't barely pass, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I forgot about that.
And then after that, shortly, we had our women's conference, Abide.
Oh my gosh. So listen, let's camp out on this for a while, because this is a fun story time. For me, you know that I am typically not one to overly stress out. Now, before I say this, I want to just preface by saying that, I love the humility that the Lord has given me, which I know sounds like a weird statement unless you know me. But typically, I don't overly stress out about worship sets or planning those kind of things, just because I know that it's not me anyways. It's literally the Lord moving. And so, for some reason, the women's conference set list just made me get hives. I think it literally gave me hives or some kind of weird skin irritation. But it was just so, I had no motivation to do anything with it. I was so scared. And I think what I pinpointed it to be was a really bad, I had way too much expectation that I was putting on other people, really on me, I guess. So I was scared that what I would be putting out as a product of the worship set, if you want to go that route, is that it wouldn't be as good as, last year's, or it wouldn't be as good as this person leading, or, I had to have this person on the team, or I had to sing for this long or include this kind of element. And it was so frustrating. I was trying to be as honest as I could with people all around me. So in all of our leadership staff meetings and things like that, I would go hey guys, I don't know why, but I am so stressed about this, to the point where I even met up with our women's pastor and said, hey, just want to run through the service with you. Oh, and by the way, I am having a minor meltdown. Will you please pray for me? Because for some reason, I just feel crushed under the weight of expectation over this. And so she did. She's so graceful. And we ended up getting through all the rehearsals. And it was once all the rehearsals were done that week, it was like a massive weight was lifted. I guess I saw, it happened. And it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. And man, we had 2 straight days of incredible encounters with the Lord. The team crushed it, and so many people were moved closer to Jesus through that worship time, and I love that. It was such a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, it was so good on my end. I served a different role this time. Usually I was more behind the scenes, or setting up, doing vendor, whatnot. So a lot of things outside of the auditorium. And so I always have, told people, not in a bad way, but chosen the Seacoast Women Conference. This is my time to get refilled. This is where I don't have to do anything and whatnot. So I always, it's probably not the best. Sorry if people at Faith was listening, but I always kind of had chosen as my MVP of women's conference.
Boom, roasted.
Stop. But this time I got to be a part of the speaking team a little bit. I got to MC. I got to host one of the speakers. So I was all up in the auditorium this time, completely opposite what I've been doing the past 4 years. And it was so refreshing and so fulfilling. And it was because nothing changed about the conference, but my position changed.
Which in turn changed your
outlook. And I received, so I put myself in a position to receive in that conference.
We could stay there for
and so what I thought, that I kind of deemed this isn't that great. Oh, it's fine, but this is more of I do work. I'm not getting, I wasn't receiving. It's because I wasn't in the right position and I didn't have the right posture. And so I just learned so much about that in that season, because I'm I've missed the last 4 years of encountering with God, because it is a moment every single time we go to a Sunday service, or we go to a Friday night worship set, or we go into our secret room where no one's watching or no one's around. That's a moment and an encounter with God. That's a divine moment. Yes, an opportunity. And we get to choose whether we engage with God and we, get something out of it, or we miss it. And so I just kind of had a little bit of conviction of I've missed it. I've missed encounters with God the past 4 years because my position wasn't right.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of something to be mindful as we go forth in anything we do. That's what I kind of said at the beginning, whatever we do, onto the Lord. Yeah. Making sure our positions and our heart is correct to receive.
So interesting points you brought up. I love that mindset of every opportunity or every moment like that, no matter your position or the role that you're serving that day, is an opportunity to receive from the Lord. So one thing, when I was doing that worship leadership Zoom stuff with John Thurlow, that he would say is that he said every set list is an opportunity for a living conversation with Jesus. So it's not just playing a bunch of songs and then getting back to the green room and just camping out eating, white cheddar Cheez-Its and
I love
LaCroix.
the Cheez-Its.
But he said every set list, every worship set is an opportunity for a living conversation with Jesus. So let's kind of talk to the people, whether they're in the gym, they're in traffic right now, whether they're at home prepping dinner, whether they're like a friend of ours that listens to us in the mornings as she's getting ready and her husband hears our beautiful voices.
That was so fun. I love you, friend. You're the sweetest friend I have.
How can people who do not, because this is the first year where you had the microphone, right?
For
And you
the
kinda-
Abide conference, yes.
Perfect. So to people who are not in the season where they are holding a microphone at a conference, and I'm speaking to the principal here, guys. For those people that aren't holding that microphone, how can they begin to shift their focus and realize, or not even realize, but how do they walk in the opportunity they have in the everyday things of those kind of events or experiences?
I feel expectation is the key word here because, like I said before, whenever I go to the Seacoast Women Conference, I don't hold a mic. No one knows my name. Oftentimes, I sit by myself and I'm alone, but I come in expecting to have an encounter with the Lord every single time. Like,
Yeah.
that's my time that I set aside, that I buy my tickets a year in advance, and I come expectant
That's huge.
for a move. And with Abide for the past, 4 or 5 years, my expectation was I am going to work, which work is not bad. I'm going to
No.
work. I'm going to do the behind the scenes. I'm probably going to complain a little bit to you just because human nature.
It's fun.
I'm like, well, this was so and so job, but let me do it. It's fine. Let me pick up this. All in for the team. But that was my expectancy. Like,
Right.
Abide's coming, all hands on deck. Let's
Yeah.
make it great. But I wasn't going in expecting to have a encounter with the Lord. Does that make sense?
That is so, so good. And tangibly for me, one of those things, can I just kind of harp on something for a moment?
Do it.
It's an irritation of mine. I'm not going to lie to you. I love being a front row sitter during services, just normal Sunday services, just super
I thought
casual.
you didn't like it because you fussed at me for sitting in the front row and you have to come down and you're a distraction.
Yeah, I got over that though.
That's
From a worship musician perspective, where I'll have to get up, for the altar call, and it's like, oh, sorry, everybody, just gonna awkwardly walk out, and it's not me going to the bathroom or anything. I'm just going back on stage. To harp on something though, when you talk about expectation, specifically on a Sunday morning, one of my primary ways that I operate in expectation is by bringing this with the pen that I did not bring right now. If you don't have an open sheet of paper or your phone notes open on, during the service, or your iPad ready, or some kind of journaling situation, you are walking into that service expecting to receive and digest and internalize nothing.
Well, it makes me think of the parable of the seeds. When seeds are thrown, and very few are on soil that
Yeah.
produces. Some goes into the cracks. Some gets choked by the thorns.
Yeah.
Some dry up in the heat. So kind of bringing that expectation with writing it down to seal it in your heart, to
Right.
bring it into Monday, Tuesday. Not only is your journal kind of like the soil, but you're bringing it in for that word to grow in
Exactly.
you.
And I'll be honest, guys, I don't have a great, during the week routine of going back and looking through, this is how I look through my notes and this is how I internalize it and do all that kind of stuff. But I do occasionally look back on those notes, and I have found that it's oftentimes the things that I write down in the service because the Holy Spirit quickens my ear. I'm like, oh, I should probably write that down. That's really good stuff. Those are the things that more often than not, I get the opportunity to share with somebody that's going through something during the week. And because it's been in my heart, it's been in my head, and I'm kind of marinating on it, I'm thinking about it, I've learned it, then I get a chance to echo that and share that with somebody, and it helps them.
I mean, what we talked about with the kind of the study tips episode, but you heard it on the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It stuck out to you enough to write it down. And when you wrote it down, you read what you wrote. So that's you getting it 3 times right then and there versus just hearing it and it's going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, so good. And I just think that having your journal with you, having your notebook, having your phone open, ready to receive. And a lot of times, guys, we've been sitting under, maybe you're listening to this and maybe you've been at this church for a while. Chances are you have for a little while. And I think what can become a thing is, especially for those of us who are serving, we can kind of come in and we can do our serve and we can sit in the seats and we can just sit under pastor's preaching, and it's pastor, like he's just going to do what he does, and it's awesome. He's going to share the word. He's amazing. This is so good. And we fail to take notes from this ordinary experience, and thus we set our expectation, which is a pretty low bar. Like, we're ready not to receive or remember anything that the Lord does in the room. And so big challenge for me: take your notebook to service with you. Take your journal and have a pen ready. I have my highlighter, my pen, my Bible, and my journal this morning. It was really difficult to hold it all. I had a little frocket, my little shirt frocket right here, my front pocket, and I put my little highlighter in there, and so
Is
I
that
look
what
like
it's called?
it is now.
Oh, okay,
I
continue.
owned it.
All right, a frocket.
So I probably looked like aisle 5 at Staples, but I was ready to receive from the Lord. And guess what? I have a page worth of notes from today. I may look at it and, every day this week and kind of internalize that. I may not. I may glance over it again. But I took time and I said, hey, I'm expecting God to move and speak, and I'm going to be ready when he does so that I can recall that later. So really good stuff.
Super good.
Kind of a little soapbox for me.
I love it. It's fine. It's been a whole month. You can soapbox all you want.
That felt good to get that off my chest. Thank you, guys.
Do you feel heard?
I feel seen.
And seen if
You're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
Or Spotify.
Oh,
You can
I
watch on
forget about
Spotify.
that now.
See, it's been so long,
It's
Liz.
been
You
so
totally
long.
forgot.
All right, moving on. So anything else about Abide? So good.
Abide was money. It was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
I am now expecting so much more things in the next one. And what's crazy is Abide got moved because April, Easter, crazy, to September. And it is a very high possibility, not this September, but next September, it might be on the same weekend. So this chosen conference that I've been going to for like 10 years faithfully, I may have to
choose you now this day.
Well, I mean, I would definitely be doing Abide because, that's home church pride.
Yeah, I'll be
but
fired.
What's cool is, and I think it's so gracious that I kind of have that realization this year, is I'm not going to be missing the Lord, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to feel like, oh man, I have to miss this to go to that.
Did you already mention kind of why Chosen was such a special time already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because my expectations were there.
And it was the place where you could fully mask off.
I could have resting face. I didn't have to see anyone, know anyone. Kind of, I went to a women's conference, kind of skipping a little ahead. Yesterday, it was like a 1-day conference. It was not the best. I got a free ticket. I felt bad.
Kindness, Liz, kindness.
I'm not saying
just
the
talked
church.
about it today in church.
I'm not saying the church at all. It was just one of those things. It makes you more appreciative of what you have.
I'll take it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take it.
It was still good. They recycled worship. That's all I'm saying. There was 2 sessions. It was a morning before lunch and then the afternoon after lunch, and they had the same worship set. It just freaked me out. I don't know why, and I can't let that go. But God was there. Amen.
So that's what Chosen was for you, like back in the day. You could take your mask off.
Yes.
You could go under the radar. You could fly undetected, and you could just receive from the Lord. So I think it's cool that even though Abide could be on the same week next year, that you're not like,
I'm not upset.
out.
But then kind of, which was good about the yesterday conference, whenever it was, and I always got so frustrated when people did this. As soon as it was over and they started singing, I was like, all right, time to leave. Dang. And so I just like dipped out, beat the traffic. It frustrates me so much. I'm like, no, it's not over. But yesterday it was over for me. And so it just kind of shows everyone has a preference, and that was not my preference.
Because they're Baptist. All right.
I didn't say that.
Anywho's,
You even said that. They were Baptist, though.
So we also have had the opportunity, we should probably wrap up with this, to get connected with an organization, Africa Freedom Mission, AFM. These guys, Carrie and Brent Roberts, have been missionaries for years living in Africa, and they moved here back to the U.S., and now they've pretty much, from what I understand, and I could have my history wrong, but they've started their own missions organization. And so every summer they take a trip over to Africa, and I think they're also there winters and summers. But so they do these things every month called Freedom Fridays, which is pretty much they open up their house every first Friday of the month. And it's just a time of worship, and most of the time it's just a word that they share, and it's such a unique environment. And I've only been twice, and look at that. No crazy effects, Liz, on the screen. No distractions. This feels like one of those distractions, though. Anywho's, so they have these Freedom Fridays at their house, and it's just such a unique environment because there's people from all kinds of churches in our local area, and people from all the way Daniel Island and Somerville.
You said someone drives from Columbia.
Somebody drives
which is
from
like 90
Columbia.
minutes to come.
We had somebody from Canada last night that they just have been following what the Lord is doing through these nights, and it was just so unique. And so last month, got the opportunity to play piano for one of the nights, and that one was just a soul worship night, and it was such a phenomenal evening of just people, young adults that are just hungry for the Lord, and it was so good.
I love that they create space for people to hear from the Lord and to share.
Oh yeah,
because a lot of times whenever we go to on a Sunday or we go to other places like conferences, you hear from the Lord, but you don't often get to share with your peers what God is doing. Like you can share with maybe your spouse or your friends or something like that, but I feel like it's really raising up ministers or future ministers, and so that's what I appreciate.
Actually, that was the comment. Now that you say, I'm glad you said that. That was the comment that I made after the first one. I said I needed that night personally because I needed to see how people could operate in their spiritual gifts and it could flow like that. Because so often, I'm in a mega church. I'm just going to be honest, guys. Like I'm used to the countdown, the worship, the service hosting, the word, the altar call. Okay, then we go and reset for the next service.
And then we go get lunch.
And then we nap so hard. Took a longer nap than I wanted to today. But it was so encouraging to just be in that environment, like you were saying, that's so free and so open for people to just receive a word from the Lord and walk up and grab the mic and be like, hey, I feel like the Lord is speaking this to me. And it was so encouraging to the body that was present. It was really, really cool. So then I guess fast forward to this past Friday, where it was my second time. And I got to lead worship for that this time, which was really awesome. And it was just, again, it's the same thing. This time we had a speaker, which maybe you could share a little bit of your nuggets, your takeaways from that in just a second. But again, it's just, these nights are so nice. I think these nights serve the same purpose that Chosen did for you early on.
It's like a nice refreshing for you because even though you're still doing worship in some aspect, it's almost like more ministering to you.
Yeah, it's like I carry the label of faith because obviously like I'm like a little air quotes ambassador for faith because I work there and stuff. And they know that.
And
but
you've been there 10 years.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, definitely an ambassador.
But it is nice that I get to go in there and it's not a Sunday service. So man, we have time. We can we can spend time with the Lord. And it's such an encouragement. I think the most encouraging thing is that so many people have texted me and kind of, I'll zoom out a little bit, not just for the last Freedom Friday, but recently there's been a lot of people that have told me that they are so appreciative of my heart of worship and the way that I lead. And even on the way home today, somebody said it right before we left. And on the way home, I said, Liz, I don't feel like I lead differently than anybody else. But truly it is such an encouraging season right now. And I know it's not always going to be this way. No. I know that it's
I feel like you're getting like built up because remember when you were in the creative role, you got emptied. You got emptied big time. So just they're doing some deposits right now. Get ready.
And I take it. But it is so encouraging. I think that's one of the beautiful parts about the body of Christ is that they speak that life into you. That's what I was going to say. They speak that encouragement into you. And it's, like I said, it's not always that way. But I love the encouragement when it comes, and I'm grateful for that.
I think it was when we were at district council. We didn't even talk about district council this past week.
My God.
So that's why we've just been so busy. But it's been fun and fulfilling. But we're so tired. But it's been so fun. but at district council. And then because when I said I got to speak at Chosen, I closed out worship. I emceed. But so many people went up to me and was like, you can preach, like you ministered to me. And it was just like,
To be fair, you did preach for your ministry time. You didn't just close worship.
well, I mean, it was the morning session. I just felt like, the Lord was like, we got to hype him up. we got to wake up. We got to stay in this moment. Don't be sleepy. But it was so cool because someone's husband came up to me whose wife went
at district council.
at district council, was like, my wife just gushed on you. And I was like, that was so kind, because it's different whenever like your friends hype you up.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
This is like a third party though.
Right. This is third party. And it was just, I'm just like, how kind it is to be able to be used by the Lord. So nice.
I love the church.
It's my
messy,
favorite.
but I love it.
It's my favorite place to be.
Yeah. So Freedom Fridays have been pretty good. It's been nice to be able to worship freely. Did you want to share any nuggets from yours?
I'll just say the thing that stuck out to me that literally blew my mind, and it's been living in my red. Wow, I'm so tired. My head, rent free for the past, I guess 48 hours since Friday.
Talk about it, Liz.
So he was talking about Moses and the burning bush, and we've all seen that movie with the Bible and.
Don't
What's
talk
it called?
to me.
Exits.
Don't even
Anyway,
look at
so
me,
we've all
Liz.
seen it. So stop. He's just mad because I like Joseph, King of Dreams, over Exodus. The Moses and the Exodus.
Joseph,
story.
King of Dreams, is a better movie, in her opinion, incorrect opinion, than Prince of Egypt.
I enjoy it better.
No, you can't.
I can't enjoy it better.
Val Kilmer is the voice of God.
Okay.
He's also Iceman.
Okay.
In Top Gun.
Whatever. I just enjoy Joseph, King of Dreams better. Okay. But anyway, still love Moses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've heard the story probably so many times that Moses in the burning bush. And the dude said, Stephen, I think
Steve.
his name
Yeah,
is
we love Steve.
We love you, Steve. He said, a bush burning in the middle of the desert is not uncommon. And I think about it like when we're driving down the interstate and we see those lumbers of logs and whatnot, and they're smoking and just the heat. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's like, so a burning bush is not uncommon.
So the desert's hot.
Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah.
And so he was just he was talking on holiness, and he was talking about like, be careful which burning bush you listen to, which makes so much sense because you can, voices in our life. But I don't know why. Just a burning bush in the desert is not uncommon. And it blew my mind, and it just kind of encourages me. I'm like, what more in the Bible do I not know that you can just dig deeper in? I'm like, I felt like I should have known that. It kind of just shows me how limited I still am.
Yeah. He said it's uncommon it's not uncommon rather for a bush to be burning in the desert because it's hot. And so he said Moses probably saw a lot of burning bushes because of the heat.
Yep.
The difference is that this one was burning but not consumed. And so he started talking about how we are also surrounded by burning bushes. We've got burning bushes all around us. They're speaking to us, like podcasts and other external voices and things like that. So he says you have to be careful what burning bushes that you listen to. And so it's like, man, that's wild. Dang. Yeah, he said that too, and I went,
I don't know why. I think because, and not saying I know everything because I don't, but like,
most things in my opinion.
I know a lot of things and I enjoy learning. And so that was I learned something completely new.
Isn't that the best?
It wasn't, and it took me off guard and I loved it. It wasn't like, oh, I've never thought about it that way. Oh, that's a new perspective. No idea.
It's me every time I talk to you.
Stop.
I learned something. I'm like, man, that's
I'm
a
like,
good
I
thought.
had no idea that there was other burning bushes.
Wild.
So now I'm like, I want to go learn more. Like, let's go do a deep
Remember that
study.
painting you did? May we never lose our wonder.
Yes.
That thought right there. If we can live in the place where we never lose our wonder for God and for His Word, we will. That sets up our expectancy. Going back to expectations, that always allows us to look at Scripture in a fresh way, and that's so good. I love that.
Yeah, so it's been a great month. We've been tired. Oh, we have to end with this too.
Sure.
I'm so sorry this is long. I also resigned from my job. I feel like that's a big deal. No, I do not know what's going to happen next. As you guys know, I am a teacher. Contracts.
Ex-teacher.
Well, no, I'm still a teacher. Calm down. Contracts are due to be signed next week, and so there is a sign or resign option.
Ooh.
And so I have
Sign
officially
or resign. That sounds intense.
So I have officially resigned from teaching next year.
Wow.
I do not have anything lined up. I am afraid a little bit, but I put my trust in the Lord
Yeah,
that He is going to open up opportunities in my next adventure. So if you guys hear this in the next podcast, I probably still won't have a job.
Yeah. If
so
she starts looking real rough in the episodes, don't comment about it.
Just if you think about it, say a prayer for me, please, because this is completely fully trusting in the Lord, and that He opened doors that needs to be open and shut doors that needs to be closed in my life. See?
I'm really proud of you for that, though.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't time to go back. I knew it wasn't meant for me to go back. This chapter I felt has closed. And there's a couple things I want, and so I'm just waiting to see if the Lord will open those doors. But if He doesn't, He is still good. And I am still afraid.
Yeah.
But trusting in Him.
Full of fear.
I am full of fear. But, going scared is fine. As long as you have the Lord.
Because you're still going.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's it. That's been our month, guys.
That's awesome. We gave you like a rapid fire list of everything that we've been kind of walking through. So hopefully something in there encouraged you. And we're excited. In Jesus' name, we're going to get back into doing these weekly podcasts.
I'm going to threaten to disconnect our subscription.
Where we just sit in here and we just talk to a camera. And on the other side of that is hopefully somebody that receives something and gets something from it. So thank you so much, as always, for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're new to this and you're like, these guys have a podcast? That's crazy. Yeah, we have a ton of episodes that you should go back and listen to back when we were hot and on our game. We were just like,
I mean,
boom, boom, boom.
I feel like I'm still fairly attractive.
Yeah,
Calm down.
Not what I meant. But when we were more consistent with it, we were hitting it. I don't know why I said hot.
It's ebbs and flows, and that's
Yeah.
one thing I am thankful for, even though I did threaten you. And I've said it before, I don't want this to feel like a burden. This
isn't done preaching yet.
This is our outlet. This is
Yeah.
our time to reflect on our week, and hopefully our story encourages someone, because that's all we can do. Like, we can't do anything but be us.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
Show Jesus.
And that's the whole heart of this whole podcast if you're new. So, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. We post new content every single weekend. And this
We hope
gives you
to post new content every weekend.
gives you an insight into our life. And we're just taking you on the journey of what we're learning and all the fun things in between. So, until the next time, be sure to share this episode with a friend if you want to. And we hope it encourages you. But we will see you on the flip side.
Bye-bye.